What's going on, y'all? Thank y'all so much for being here. Just want to let you guys know in advance, I got some family members outside of this cabin, so if y'all hear some noise, I'm sorry. I hope they're quiet.
Let's go.
But I have this little setting on my mic where it cuts off background noise, but my little nephew be screaming, so if y'all hear somebody screaming, it's my nephew. But I usually do long introductions, but I just want to get straight to what I'm gonna talk about today, so let's get straight into it.
Let's do this.
Everybody knows who Nipsey is. Well, a majority of us know who Nipsey is. But for those who don't know who Nipsey is, I just brought up a little biography of him. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, I promise.
I promise you and I invite you.
Nipsey Hussle was an American rapper, activist, and entrepreneur. His 14-year career led to him becoming one of the biggest influences in the West Coast rap, gaining more and more recognition with the release of each of his mixtapes. This led to the release of his critically acclaimed debut album Victory Lap in 2018. His passions extended beyond his music, which he explored with the establishment of his Marathon clothing store and his deduction to community activism. That's why I really respected Nipsey, just because of how much he doesn't only want the community listening to his music, but he wants his community to further their understanding of life and how to get themselves out of, these chains. And what I mean by chains is just the generational curse of being poor and like having to sell drugs and having to like lose loved ones and all that stuff. He always preached to people that like being a person doesn't mean living that fast life. It's about really like representing something bigger. That's what I really respect about Nipsey. Sadly, his life was tragically cut short at the young age of 33, but his work and impact in the hip-hop world and beyond are still felt today. Nipsey was born on August 15, 1985 in Crenshaw, Los Angeles, California, to Angelique Smith, an African-American woman, and Dawit Asgadam, an Eritrean immigrant. He was raised in the Crenshaw neighborhood of South Los Angeles with his brother Samuel and his sister Samantha, and attended Alexander Hamilton High School. But dropped out before graduating. At the age of 14, Hussle left home and joined the local Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, a subgroup of the larger Crips gang primarily based in his home neighborhood of Crenshaw. However, he would later to separate himself from the gang and dedicate much of his career to gang prevention. He would later say, "In my section of the Crenshaw district in the Rolling 60s, none of my peers survived. None of my peers avoided prison. None of them. Everybody got bullet wounds and felonies and strikes. So to make it out mentally stable and not in prison and not on drugs, that's a win." When he was 19, his father took him and his brother on a trip to Eritrea for 3 months. He would later say the trip inspired him to become a community activist with an entrepreneurial spirit. And I actually seen that documentary. He said that like seeing everybody live in that type of situation where you're living in a third world country, where people don't even have water like that, where people could even take showers and stuff. He said like the whole experience really opened his eyes and really showed him that, him living in America or just him having fundamental freedoms that we have today, it really like inspired him to like see life through a different perspective or see life through a different lens. So that documentary was really tight, and I respect him so much for saying what he said in that documentary, because it inspired me to like not take advantage of what I have, to really like influence me to like to take what I have around me or to take the knowledge that I have in my head and like put into action.
All right. Got some action.
This article talks so much more about his music career and stuff like that, but I want to cover Dr. Sebi. Born November 26, 1933 in the village of Ilanga, Spanish Honduras, Dr. Sebi came into this world as Alfredo Bowman. Young Alfredo did not attend formal school. He was raised and educated by his cherished grandmother. God bless our grandmothers, seriously. Mama Hay, who influenced his understanding of nature that helped develop a great man and world-renowned herbalist. Mama Hay is the pillar of my foundation, Dr. Sebi said. She is the very pillar in which all the things that I have done lays. Dr. Sebi's fascination with the natural world around him sparked a lifelong interest in the healing properties of plants. As a young man with asthma, diabetes, impotence,
Dismissed.
and obesity, Dr. Sebi was drawn to natural healing methods, especially after discovering firsthand the limitations of Western medicine in treating chronic diseases. Dr. Sebi studied herbs in Africa, the Caribbean, North America, and Central and South America. In Mexico, he met this herbalist who alleviated all of his health complaints and explained to him that being from Africa, he should follow an original African diet. Inspired by the mighty healing potential of herbs, compounds that clean and replenish the body, the first prototypes of Dr. Sebi's cell food. And Dr. Sebi's cell food, that's what he called his work or his herbs that he would often sell people. Dedicating his life to the pursuit of natural plant-based approaches for health management and disease prevention, Dr. Sebi treated high-profile clientele including Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, John Travolta, Lisa Left Eye Lopez of TLC, and Teddy Pendergrass, and his efforts continue to enrich the health and well-being of millions of people around the world. Dr. Sebi passed away in 2016, which I will talk about a little later, leaving a legacy of natural healing knowledge, philosophy, and wisdom that is our duty to pass on to future generations for the healing of all humankind. This is a quote from him. "I say to my brothers and sisters, if nothing else we do, let us be tolerant of each other and share love."
Amen to that.
But now let's get to the itty-gritty stuff. So I'm going to share you guys my screen because this is going to have an article that has some videos that I want to show you guys. So let's get to it. This is the article right here, but just to let you guys know, the video is kind of old of Dr. Sebi, so the volume might be a little staticky and the film is going to look really old, but I'm going to try my best to like not make it too, unbearable. Article is titled, "What You Need to Know About Dr. Sebi and Nipsey Hussle's Documentary on Him." The beloved Grammy-nominated rapper shined a light on the self-proclaimed healer. In the wake of the shooting death of rapper Nipsey Hussle, homeopathic healer Dr. Sebi began trending on Twitter. Before his death, Nipsey Hussle revealed he was making a documentary profiling the life of Dr. Sebi, who claimed he successfully cured AIDS, and some fans on social media believed the Victory Lap rapper's connection to the controversial figure made him a target. In the late 80s, Dr. Sebi, also known as Alfredo Darrington Bowman, was at the center of several criminal proceedings for practicing medicine without a license.
Just mind your business, alright?
In 1988, the state of New York sued Dr. Sebi for making unsubstantiated therapeutic claims after he paid for ads in the Amsterdam News, the Village Voice, and the New York Post saying that AIDS has been cured. And that's like a big thing to say. Imagine someone saying that, in today's world. Just imagine all the pharmacies and all the corporations who own these pharmacies. They're probably like, what? This man right here trying to get shot up. I'm just playing. Well, I'm not playing. Just feel like, it has so much to do with money. You know what I'm saying? For someone to say that they cured AIDS, imagine just how much money can be lost in these pharmacies.
Until you've heard what I've come to say.
You have said enough.
The New York State attorney told Dr. Sebi to take down the ads or face legal ramifications. For an initial fee of $500 and $80 for each additional visit, patients were told they could be cured of AIDS and other diseases. The cures consisted of various herbal products, for each of which USHA made therapeutic claims, the state said in its lawsuit against the medical practitioner. At a time when people were dying from AIDS at record numbers, Dr. Sebi was a leader in the natural remedies movement. As part of Dr. Sebi's practice, he prescribed a strict vegan diet that cut out alcohol, sugar, and iodized salt to help the body regenerate and heal itself. Let's get to the video that I was telling you guys about. That's gonna have some bad quality, but I hope it's not too bad. So let's get to it.
The man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge. The lump in Myrtle Rick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems or anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Disease is cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
We have complex things with science, but if we go back to God and use the herbs as God said, then you can see how simple it is. Then you can say, well,
Dr. Sebi believes what ails you can be cured with natural alkaloid herbs and a vegetarian diet solely made up of what he calls electric foods, mushrooms, greens, and rye breads without starch.
If Hippocrates established the principle of medical science by using herbs to cure diseases, then why the physician using the chemicals?
40 years ago, a doctor in Mexico cured Sebi of diabetes, asthma, and obesity with the very same herbs and diet he dispenses to all of his patients, whether they're suffering from lack of energy or full-blown AIDS.
That package is an intracellular chelation. I'm removing plaque from the system. I'm removing inflammation. That is the base for all disease.
I just found that really interesting because how he said inflammation is like the main cause of diseases and infection and stuff like that. That's why I started like digging into like herbs and stuff, because I feel like a lot of the pills that are prescribed over the counter, they're supposed to like prevent inflammation and stuff like that. But what I've seen online is that a lot of these drugs that are given to us cause inflammation. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong.
No.
A medical affidavit provided by Dr. Sebi, it's working. It shows a patient diagnosed with HIV in November of 1993 was cured 2 months later. Thousands of patients worldwide swear by his methods and natural herbal medicines.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from trying to lose weight to looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said, had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism, and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
I've been polluting my body for 30 years. 40 days is not a long time to me to fast. 40 days represents overcoming death. It's the number of days that Jesus fasted for, and I kind of feel like I'm on a journey sometimes. Don't really know quite where I'm headed.
Throwback to when MTV was a thing. Y'all remember MTV? Like, I know it's hella random, but like that just brought back so much vibes.
At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, with the world.
Let's get straight to the next point. Dr. Sebi took his findings to trial in New York, where the medical practitioner provided examples of 77 patients he claimed to have cured. Although Dr. Sebi won the case, information about his treatment was never popularized. During a recent radio interview with The Breakfast Club, Hussle explained why he wanted to bring new attention to the work of Dr. Sebi.
There's a lot of little jewels that you're saying in there. That's what I like. Like I said, the medicine really is in the candy. Because even when you drop a bar like about Dr. Sebi,
yeah,
like just that one thing they killed Dr. Sebi will make somebody go research who Dr. Sebi is.
100%.
Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi.
I thought it was Sebi.
Man, I said it wrong.
He said Sebi.
Yeah. I'm an LA nigga, man. My lingo a little different.
Have you met Dr. Sebi?
I never met him. I met his wife, and I take his products for sure.
Now, the coolest guy ever. I mean, he was, when we interviewed him, I think he was about 74.
Oh, y'all interviewed him?
Yeah, we interviewed him twice.
Damn.
Not here, but when I was on the other show. He was able to jump from the floor up here on his knees.
At 70-something.
On his knees. And jump back down and no problems, nothing like that.
Why you think they killed him?
Why do they kill all holistic doctors?
Messing up the medical industry.
You short-stopping their grind. Why do niggas get killed for hustling in front of a nigga spot? You short-stopping the grind. And these niggas, they check is billions. You got niggas that get flipped for a couple $100,000. So you playing with some pharmaceutical money, you know? And what's crazy, I'm working on doing a documentary on the trial.
Sorry to cut it off, but before I get into like the rest of this video, I do want to show you guys something very interesting. So this is the top 20 pharma companies by 2022 revenue. For the first time in biopharma history, a company has topped the 100 billion mark in annual revenue.
Damn.
Pfizer passed that milestone, propelled by its massive haul from its COVID-19 products. Its BioNTech partnered vaccine, Comirnaty, I don't know how to pronounce that, raked in 37.8 billion.
Damn.
An oral antiviral, Paxlovid, made $18.9 billion. Subtract the COVID treatments from Pfizer's top line and its revenue would be $43 billion, which is right in line with the company's pre-pandemic sales. The big pharma sales gradually increased from $40.8 billion in 2018 to $41.6 billion in 2020. With this windfall, Pfizer displaced Johnson & Johnson as the industry's #1 revenue generator. J&J had occupied that position for a decade and had been closing in on the 100 billion mark. Sales for 2021 and 2022 came in at 93.8 billion and 94.9 billion respectively. So why is this important, or why is this something that has to be talked about? It's because this is how much money they're making off sick people.
In 1985, when Dr. Sebi went to trial against New York,
right?
Because he put in the newspaper he cured AIDS.
Yeah. Did he
beat the case, and he went to federal court the next day and beat that case on record.
Just to go back to the Dr. Sebi thing real quick, what makes you want to do a documentary? Okay,
get it right, man.
What makes you want to do a documentary about Dr. Sebi?
I think the story's important. I think it's a powerful narrative.
It is.
You know what I mean? And I think imagine this. Anybody in this room, if I could say, hey, somebody cured AIDS, y'all be like, yeah, right. And then I could show you an example of him going to trial and proving in a court to a jury that he cured AIDS. Y'all be interested in that.
Absolutely.
And y'all would look into the way he did it, right? So I feel like more so than like championing his products or explaining his methodology, put some light on that case.
In the first incident, Dr. Sebi was arrested at the Juan Manuel Galvez de Roatan airport in Honduras, along with his associate Pablo Medina Gamboa. The two were detained while attempting to board a private plane with $37,000 in cash. Dr. Sebi was released just to be arrested for a second time by the Public Ministerio, the Honduras equivalent to the FBI, on charges of money laundering. Although Dr. Sebi was battling pneumonia, he remained in police custody. At 82 years old, Dr. Sebi died while in transit to Vicente de Antonio Hospital. Rest in peace to Dr. Sebi. Now, people who believe Nipsey Hussle shed light on a man that medical industry wanted to keep buried are revisiting the circumstances surrounding Dr. Sebi's death. Hussle asked in the Breakfast Club interview, why do they kill all holistic doctors? You're messing up the medical industry. You're short-stopping his grind. They check in billions, which I just showed you guys on that website. You're playing with some pharmaceutical money. And before I even get to the next article, Nipsey was forewarned by others that going too far into Sebi's findings could turn him into a target and lead to his death. However, Nipsey persisted and wished to bring out the wisdom underlying Sebi's work. So this article is titled Nipsey Hussle's Last Moments Detailed as Murder Trial Opens. Rapper Nipsey Hussle was gunned down outside his clothing shop in a calculated, premeditated fashion by a man upset over a discussion about snitching. The prosecutor described a sequence of events, including the talk about snitching, before Hussle's shooting death. Holder kicked the rapper in the head before fleeing. And they also said when he got shot, he told the shooter that, you got me. Like, that kind of hit me when he said that. Like, imagine Nipsey dying, like, from getting shot like that. And his last words were, you got me. McKinney said Holder and Hussle knew each other, growing up in the same neighborhood where they were members of the same gang, the Rollin' 60s. McKinney said the shooting stemmed from Hussle hearing that Holder was a snitch and needed to clear that up. Before the shooting, he said the rapper and his two friends were having a cool conversation with Holder. Jensen said Holder was triggered and didn't have time to cool off before he gunned down Hussle. That's one certain narrative, that he was killed by his homie, you know, someone that he was in the same gang with and all that, and that he called him a snitch, and that's how he got killed. But a lot of other people don't believe, you know, that's the reason why he was killed. So that's why I'm gonna pull up this last article right here, what a lot of people think happened or why he was killed. This article is titled "Conspiracy Theories Spread After Nipsey Hussle Shooting." Videos are circulating on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook in which Nipsey Hussle's death is being blamed without evidence on one or more of the government, pharmaceutical companies, or the Illuminati, a nebulous group of elites that conspiracy theorists claim secretly controls the world. Search results for Nipsey Hussle on YouTube include several such videos, some of which accumulated hundreds of thousands or even millions of views. Adherents claim baselessly that the rapper was murdered because he was working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi. So that's the end of that last article. I just want to say, like, the whole conspiracy theory behind Dr. Sebi and Nipsey being killed, it may seem far-fetched, but to me it kind of makes sense. It just seems very reasonable because, like, there have been so many whistleblowers in our lifetime, or those before us, who have been exposing, you know, these dark forces or these superpowers and whatnot, that have been exposing, you know, the darkest of dark secrets, or trying to, like, awaken the mass population of people. And once they, like, start that torch, it just keeps going. And I feel like that's why they probably had a target on their back, because they were, like, shedding this light that was, you know, exceeding so far, that was reaching, you know, so many people, you know, especially with YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. So again, they were seen as a threat. That's just my opinion, and that's a lot of other people's opinions. Because, like, after Nipsey died, like, I told myself, like, what's the point of even standing up against what's wrong anymore? Like, what's the point of even, like, trying to spread the truth when you become an enemy, or you'll become unliked by so many people? To me, that's a legacy that he and Dr. Sebi leave behind. You know, if they were both killed because of what they tried to uncover, dying for something you stand for, to me, it's just like, that's a life worth lived.